Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Laozhang sees the world. In this session, we will share more details about the guideline of Sino-U.S. engagement. The first period, 1784 to 1844. After American independence, America had only 24 towns and cities. 94 of its population lived in countryside. Even in New York, and there were only 30,000 residents. Initially, America had a loose confederate with most of its power in state Congress, without a central government or federal government. Abroad, Great Britain lifted a trade embargo to America. Spain blocked the mouth of Mississippi River, and France also set some limits to America's entry to West Indies. And China's prosperity was very fascinating to the early America. At that time, and China was in its high time of Kangxi and the Qianlong emperors, keeping tribute relations as 朝贡关系 with its neighboring countries. It was believed traditionally in China that all the lands under heaven belongs to my king. All the people wherever submit to my king. 普天之下莫非王土，率土之滨莫非王臣。At this period, America developed rapidly. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase enlarged America with almost 2.4 million square kilometers spent only with $15 million. In 1818, America built its first national highway, the Cumberland Pike. In July 1844, China and America signed the Treaty of Laozhang. The second period from 1844 to 1994. The Mexican-American War and American Civil War. In 1867, that's Alaska Purchase. In 1876, 100-year of anniversary of American independence, its population increased to 46.1 million. In 1898, the U.S. population was 75 million, with its GDP as the largest economy in the world, and followed with Spanish-American War. Comparison to China. In 1860s, China's imperial garden, Yuan, was set on fire by British-French allies. In 1888, China built its North Sea Fleet, which was totally destroyed in Sino-Japanese War in 1894 and in 1895, with Taiwan ceded to Japan. The failure of Boxer Rebellion, 义和团运动, and the following Boxer Protocol, 辛丑条约, with large reparations. In 1904 and 1905, the Russo-Japanese War, the U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt mediated and helped to transfer Russia's privileges in Manchuria to Japan. The period 3, 1904 to 1949. China's Xinhai Revolution in 1911 and the establishment of Republic of China. October Revolution in Russia in 1917 and the establishment of the Soviet Union. In 1919, the Paris Peace Conference, the U.S. President Woodrow Wilson signed the Treaty of Versailles, the 凡尔赛合约, and agreed to give German privileges in China's Shandong province to Japan, which greatly angered the Chinese people. During China's Civil War, the nationalist government under Jiang Jieshi was defeated and fled to Taiwan. The Communist Party scored a final victory. In August 1949, the U.S. State Secretary Dean Acheson issued the white paper, and concluding that the unfortunate but inescapable fact is that the ominous result of the civil war in China was beyond the control of the government of the United States. Nothing that this country did or could have done within the reasonable limit of its capabilities could have changed that result. Nothing that was left undone by this country has contributed to it. It was the product of China's internal forces, which this country tried to influence but could not. A decision was arrived at within China, if only a decision by default. The period from 1949 to 1979. In April 1951, MacArthur was removed from the position of General Commander of UN forces in Korean War. He once blamed the White House for the previous failure of US Army and suggested extend the Korean War into China. In the following Congress hearing, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, 美国参谋长联席会议主席 the Omar Bradley remarked about MacArthur's proposal. The Red China is not a powerful nation seeking to dominate the world. Frankly, in the opinion of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, this strategy would involve us in a wrong war at the wrong place at the wrong time and with the wrong enemy. In the 1960s, it occurred the Cuban Missile Crisis, a war in Vietnam escalated, and China's success of nuclear tests and border clashes with the Soviet, and especially America's landing on the moon. In the 1970s, Sino-U.S, the ping-pong diplomacy, Kissinger's secret China tour, and China resumed its legal seat in the United Nations, and Nixon visited China. Period 5, and from 1979 to 2009. Deng Xiaoping visited America in January 1979, and Taiwan Relations Act, August 17th Communique in 1982. In 1990s, the Gulf War broke out, reunification of Germany, dismantle of Yugoslavia, and the collapse of the Soviet Union. In July 1993, China's container ship 银河号货轮 was intercepted on the sea by America for the reason that possible chemical agents or liquids on board for Iran. After several days of search and checking, nothing accused was found on the container ship, and even the ship's GPS was turned off. Since then, China decided to develop its own Beidou navigation system. Taiwan Strait crisis and China's embassy in Serbia was bombed in May 1999. The next decade. In April 2001, the Sino-U.S. the airplane collision over South China Sea. Then in America, it witnessed the 9/11 terrorism, the wars on Afghanistan, and then the wars on Iraq, Hurricane Katrina in 2005, and the financial crisis in 2008. In November 2001, China joined in WTO. In April 2006, the Chinese President Hu Jintao visited America and presented a delicate covered book, The Art of War, to President Bush. And Bush asked Hu Jintao what his most concern was. Hu answered it was the 25 million annual new job positions for the young people in China. The sixth period from 2009 to 2022. In 2010, China became the second largest economy in the world. From 2013 to 2017, the annual meeting for Sino-U.S. leaders and the strategy and economy dialogues. In 2015, China put forward the Belt and Road Initiative. Then also China's progresses in military and space technologies. From September 2012, China began its time of carrier. And then 075 amphibious attack and a landing ship, and 052D destroyer and G-20 fighter, and KG-2000 early warning plane, and the H-6K the bomber gradually in service. In 2019, and China's 70-year anniversary of National Day, there was a military parade in Beijing. Also, we see the Space Palace #1, Chang'e #4, Yu-2 #2 Moon rover, and the Tianwen #1 Zhurong Mars rover, and the Tianhe core capsule, the China space station, all succeeded. In 2017, Trump was elected as U.S. president, advocating "Make America Great Again." And then happened Russellgate incident, and China and U.S. trade war, and Meng Wanzhou incident, and impeachments to Trump and COVID-19. In March 2021, Alaska meeting 2+2 with the U.S. State Secretary of Antony Blinken and the National Security Advisor and Jake Sullivan, and China's Foreign Affairs Chief Yang Jiechi and the Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Blinken said the future of Sino-U.S. relations depends upon how it develops. Competitive, where it should be, collaborative, where it can be, and adversarial, where it must be. 竞争是自然的，合作是可行的，对抗是难免的。Chinese representative Yang Jiechi and remarked, "We thought too well of America. You do not have the qualifications to speak to us from the position of strength." 其实你们没有资格站在实力的地位跟我们说话。Chinese do not take this. 中国人不吃这一套。In this session, we mainly talked about the guideline and the main events in Sino-U.S. relations. And the next session, we will discuss some theories in international relations. And for a better understanding the true reasons behind the daily world news. And see you next time, and thanks.